A small body slams into darkness, breath ragged like a trapped bird. The closet door trembles under a silence that is not empty. Long hair falls like a curtain. A pale shape moves with impossible gentleness. A child's scream dies under a hand that is too cold, too patient. What comes out of the dark when the house is supposed to be safe? Welcome to the thing. The night holds secrets, and tonight, one of them will reach you. He came to us at 3 in the morning, the kind of midnight that rearranges the bones in your chest, and he dove into our bed, like he was fleeing a storm that only he could see. We'd done the checks a dozen times. The light flipped, the closet yanked open, the hollow reassurance of empty hangers and toys. And still he insisted she was real. She said she's my real mother, he told us, small hands clinging, eyes too old for an 8-year-old. Sarah would pull him close and murmur safety into his hair. I would stand at the doorway, pretending the emptiness of the closet was proof enough that everything was normal. It began like a bad season of nightmares, once or twice a week at first, until the nights stacked and the interruptions became ritual, until the house itself felt exhausted. We tried nightlights, keeping the door cracked, staying with him until sleep. But no surprises. The routine swallowed us like fog into trees. Every morning, I walked into work like a ghost, caffeine and thin veneer keeping me upright, while at home, a drawing sat on the edge of my kid's table, with a figure at its center. A woman, taller than us, long black hair, and a crooked smile. I bought a Nanny cam because I had to see what wasn't supposed to be there. I put it on his dresser, wide enough to catch both bed and closet, and I told him it would keep him safe. He fell asleep with a dinosaur crushed in his fist, and the camera light blinking like a small, indifferent star. In the morning, I watched the footage like a confession, like a map to a wound. The closet opens in the night vision. A thin hand interrupts the dark, and then she moves. Impossibly pale, hair falling like a wet veil, a tattered white gown that hangs at wrong angles, as if stitched by someone who remembered how to mimic a mother, but not how to love. She comes for him with the patience of a tide. She clamps one hand over his mouth and lifts him as if he weighs nothing, rocking him like a lullaby that doesn't belong. He fights. He thrashes. He tastes the breath of a monster that knows how to be gentle. The camera shows us what our arms could not catch. 30 minutes later, she returns with a doll cradled against that white chest, and she dresses it in his pajamas with a tenderness that makes your skin prickle as if you have been denied something sacred. She taps the doll's head with the same affection a mother might give a sleeping child, and then she slips back into shadow, closing the door as though nothing has been taken. The doll stretches, limbs lengthen, hair grows. It becomes him. The thing in our room is not our child. It is a mirror wearing his face. I don't know why I am writing this down. Maybe because writing is a plea. Maybe because a confession is the only thing left that feels like truth. I couldn't tell Sarah everything. How the footage arranged itself like proof of the impossible. How my fingers shook when I watched my son become something else. So I left a camera, and I left a trail. I left myself where the edge of belief thins, and the world tips into something else. in the end, the thing that would not leave the closet, took what it wanted. It wore him like a coat. I watched the footage, and then I did something I had no right to do. I wrote it down for whoever might find the pages, because some warnings cannot be said aloud, and some grief reckons only with ink. The last entry is a doorway. It's me walking toward that dark, apologizing into a house that no longer answers in the ordinary way, asking that if I do not return, someone tells Sarah I tried. The turning is a silence that folds over everything. A small, terrified voice. A shadow, too deliberate to be wind. A face that knows you, and then stillness. You feel it more than you see it. Your skin remembers a touch you never had. You wake in the night and count the doors in your house like a prayer. The thing doesn't smash the world apart. It rearranges the familiar, until the familiar is foreign. They told themselves it was a dream. He told them it wasn't. He screamed. They checked. The closet was empty. The camera was not. Now there's quietness, where a small voice used to be, and a drawing that still waits in the corner, with ink that looks freshly darkened, a bed still made, a dresser with a small camera lens that recorded the impossible, a father's last words folded like a map into a pocket no one will open without a blade of courage. Somewhere in that house, in the place where shadow stacks itself like laundry, a presence learned how to lilt, mimic, and soothe. It learned the shape of a family and took it as its own. It left a thing behind that looks like a child and smiles in the ways a child would, but a smile that asks you to forget what was taken. We like to think that light is protection, that doors locked mean safety. Sometimes the thing that wants you learns the pattern of your heart and comes anyway. Patient, tender, masterful at pretending. It is the only voice that ever loved you. If you ever find a drawing at the edge of a child's page, look twice at the center. If a small figure stands too still, listen for the rhythm of the chest. It may be breathing for the wrong person. I do not finish the story with justice. I finish it with a hush. A house without a son. A father who walked toward a closet. And a note that asks forgiveness from a world that cannot accept what it saw. This thing remains unnamed. It keeps its reasons close. It keeps the house on its map. And the night keeps its hunger. And with that, the night swallows this tale. But another waits. This was the thing.